All us real hoop fans remember the famous Nike Jordan commercial about his shoes being banned from the NBA. We all remember MJ standing there bouncing the ball in the original red and black Air Jordans. Then those black sensor blocks get plastered over the shoes. Amazing graphics, right? Well, this video is about the NBA banning things, but not shoes. Oh no, we're going to talk about the NBA banning certain moves a player can do. Let me first start off with one of the baddest shooters of all time and maybe the best of the golden era of the NBA, the 90s. Did you guess the right player? Well, if your answer isn't Reggie Miller, then you're wrong.
McKee gets it in the middle for the win! Unbelievable! Reggie hits the three!
But no worries, stick around. You're going to want to hear how a Reggie Miller move now has some serious consequences for a shooter. Reggie Miller was known for popping off a screen or two, catching the ball from deep, and firing a three ball in your face. But from time to time, Reggie also liked to kick his legs out in hope that his defender would run into it, causing a foul and giving Reggie those also important free throws. In 2012, thanks to the use of instant replay, the NBA could slow down and catch a shooter kicking his leg out on purpose just to create contact, and the big bad NBA doesn't like it. Well, actually, I think the league got this one right. You shouldn't be able to kick your leg out and have your defender hopelessly get in your foot's way. So from 2012 on, any shooter getting caught using the old kick out on your shots is now called for an offensive foul. The rule has been appropriately dubbed the Reggie Miller rule. Thanks, Reggie. From kicking out your legs to pump faking and jumping into your opponent, we're going to stick with the shooters in the NBA and another tactical move that's been ripped away from them. The move, the pump and jump, is when a player would pump fake, getting his defender to jump in the air, then a simple lean in and jump into the defender would get you 2 free throws. Does this seem fair to the defender? The NBA didn't think so, so they changed the rule stating if a shooter is seeking out the defender's body, it's an automatic offensive foul. Now if you pump fake and jump straight up for a shot and get hit, then you get your free throws. It's just the leaning into your defender which is now banned. A player who used that move a lot is James Harden, and there's even a new rule change dubbed the Harden rule, but it's not the pump and jump. James Harden loved to do a move where he dribbles from behind the three-point line. As soon as his defender reaches and fouls him, he'd gather and fire up a shot. James Harden received 3 free throws many times for these fouls, and opposing coaches and fans alike weren't too happy. So now, if the defender reaches and fouls Harden, even if he's gathered the ball already, as long as he's not already brought the ball up to shoot, it's now deemed a common foul and not a shooting foul. James Harden played with Kevin Durant on the Thunder. Now they're back as teammates on the Nets, and Durant had one of his favorite moves get banned while in OKC. Stay tuned to find out which move it is. One of Kevin Durant's go-to moves was the famous rip-through. When I say famous, I mean in a hated way. Yes, this move not only made NBA defenders upset, but in pickup games all over the country, there was always one dude who used it. Ugh. Now we're going to talk about the rip-through move, but before we do, don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Okay, the rip-through is where the shooter, who has a defender up in his grill, swoops the ball in a half-moon arc into the defender's arms and fires up a shot that has no chance. KD loved using this move to draw the foul, but the NBA banned this move from being a shooting foul. Now the move will only get you a side-out foul. Of course, if the opposing team is in the penalty, this move could still get you to the line. One of the most iconic plays from a regular season game in the 90s was the famous crossover Allen Iverson did on the Michael Jordan. Yes, AI's crossover was deadly, but the real question was, is it legal? This was the ultimate question the NBA asked. Scottie Pippen, MJ's right-hand man, said that after the game where Iverson crossed over his partner that league officials do allow Iverson to pick the ball up and carry it pretty high. The NBA decided to monitor Iverson's famous move carefully, and they told their officials to watch it closely, and that they did. They started calling it a palming violation, which ultimately made Iverson change the way he'd perform the move. Now, we've spoken about all these moves that were banned for the offensive player, but what about a move that a defensive player used to get an advantage? Before the 2003-2004 NBA season, every defender enjoyed using a move to help control their opponent. The move is called hand checking. What is hand checking, you ask? Well, when the offensive player has the ball and goes to make a move, the defensive player would place his hand on the offensive player's hip or other portion of his body to help control where he can move. The NBA declared this to be illegal by defining it as illegal contact by a defensive player which impedes the forward and/or lateral movement of the offensive player. Can you imagine a prime Michael Jordan playing in the league with no hand checking? He'd average 45, believe that. This rule change was in a roundabout way enforced because of the retirement of MJ. They wanted to bring more offense to that slower pace era and bring more excitement to the game. Now, I stated MJ would average 45 a game if he played in the no hand checking era, but what if I told you a player did, in fact, average 50 points per game in the NBA? If you know who the player is, comment down below. If you aren't quite sure who this NBA player was, I'll tell you now. It was Wilt Chamberlain. In the 1961-1962 season, Wilt averaged an incredible 50.4 points per game and an outstanding 25.7 rebounds per game. It appeared that Wilt could do everything right. Well, he did have one weakness, and that would be free throws. A young Wilt Chamberlain had a way around his awful free throw shooting. Wilt would line up, toss the ball at the backboard, then he would rush toward the hoop, jump up, catch the ball, and dunk it in for 2 points. Pretty clever, right? Well, it was, but the league realized this to be sort of a cheap move, so they banned it, putting in place the rule we know today where the free throw shooter can't move until the ball hits the rim. So what do you think of these banned moves by the NBA? Do you agree with all of them? Or do you think some of the moves should still be allowed, like hand checking? Comment down below with your opinions, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Come back again. I won't ban you. Believe that.